What's up, my friends? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be reacting to this video I found on YouTube called Seriously, Why Even Bother Seeing a Doctor? And personally, just off the title alone, I can relate to this because ever since 2020, I just feel like whenever I get sick or something happens to me, it feels like there's nobody to really help me anymore. When I go to a doctor, it truly feels to me like it's all very bureaucratic and it's such a hassle and it's not helpful anymore that I just don't even want to go, to be honest. And I've been thinking recently honestly about just canceling my health insurance because what am I paying for? I'm paying for you to still bill me when I need help. So I don't know, maybe it's just better to pay out of pocket. Let me know down below, like, do you guys have health insurance? Do you pay for it? Do you get free health insurance? What's that like? I'd love to know your experience. But before I keep talking your ear off, I just want to say real quick, if you are enjoying these reactionary style type videos, please hit that subscribe button, like, share with your friends, hit the notification bell, leave a comment down below. It helps my channel out a lot with engagement, and I appreciate it very much. So let's listen to this doctor tell us why it's pointless to see a doctor in 2025.
Hi everyone, Dr. Sunil Dand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. The medical profession is in big trouble. I know I may sound like a broken record on this topic, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I find it personally very sad as well, what has happened to doctors and medicine over the last few years. We are so far removed from the original principles of Hippocrates, the traditional art and practice of medicine. It's no longer what it used to be even a couple of decades ago. Many of us have memories of the traditional family doctor who would visit houses with their doctor bag. They would come, they would look at you in the eye, they would care for you and your family. No longer, those days are way in the past. And I want to share with you a recent comment in response to a video of mine, which really sums this up very well. Thank you to whoever commented here. Let me share this with you. Here it is. When you spend your appointment with your doctor sitting on the table, with him sitting across the room, with his head in his laptop asking me questions, you kind of figure out that the doctor isn't that necessary. That is a very sad statement, but how many of you can relate to that? I'm sure millions of people out there can relate to that. What on earth has the medical profession done to itself, allowing itself to be overwhelmed with bureaucracy, so much so that the traditional art of medicine is completely forgotten. Now, in a previous existence, this is pre-pandemic, one of the main areas that I was passionate about was doctor-patient communication. I actually used to travel around the country teaching this basic skills, not forgetting that medicine, healthcare, most of it is about good communication skills. And we're talking basic things here. This is not rocket science. This could apply to any arena. When you've lost the art of simply looking at who you're talking to, then really we're talking about the end game of any profession, because this is basic stuff, especially in medicine. And this is what I call the type and click bot doctor. This is what medicine has allowed itself to become. Mindlessly going through protocols, glued to their computer screens, check boxes, tick boxes, no longer able to look at their patient as a human being and at least spend a few minutes making eye contact. Remember, the eyes are a window to the soul. And in no other arena is it more important to look at someone than in healthcare, and we've even lost that. Whatever happened indeed to that good old-fashioned doctor who would come along to your house with their doctor bag? They'd have minimal bureaucracy, they'd scribble on a little note, but at least they would talk to you and your family, and they would take good care of you. Now, when you do get an appointment, which, remember, is almost impossible in many parts of the United States and United Kingdom, a lot of people have that exact experience. The doctor didn't even look at me in the eye. They were glued to their computer screen. And I have complete empathy with that person's comment, because I've noticed that myself as a doctor. This is why as I've said many times before, I have zero interest in routine healthcare interactions. I've never registered with a primary care doctor. I don't even want to use my health insurance. I consider it a backup only for emergencies, because I know what's going to happen if I make an appointment with a primary care doctor. They're simply going to go through a checklist. They're not going to get to know me at all. They are completely overwhelmed with bureaucracy, and it's simply filling out boxes, ticking boxes, pushing recommendations according to what their physician societies have told them. No, thank you, I have no interest whatsoever. And how long is it? I'm speaking directly here. If any medical leader is listening, how long is it before millions of people realize that there's no point at all going to their doctors? With the explosion of technology, I talked about artificial intelligence recently. Why even go to a doctor if they're mindlessly going to ask you the questions and not even look at you or get to know you or make you feel like a human? You may as well simply get that from your computer. That is reality. And that is why, again, the medical profession is in big trouble. And there is only a small window here for the medical profession and doctors to rescue themselves. It's only a very small time frame that we have now. The patience of millions and millions of people is really wearing thin now. And if doctors want to rescue themselves, then they better get right onto it, because the medical profession has completely allowed governments, insurance companies, other third-party business interests to rule over the profession. We are so far removed from the traditional practice of medicine, and it really says something that millions of people are noticing that doctors are not even looking at them in the eyes anymore, not even treating them as a human being. That is core, basic, fundamental of healthcare interactions, and doctors can't even do that nowadays. That really says something. I try my best as a doctor to stay true to the principles. Unfortunately, a lot of the times I have to go out of the system because the system does not allow doctors to work in this way, to practice medicine in this way. But if there's any chance of the medical profession redeeming itself, then it better be done quickly, and changes need to be made right now. Thank you everyone for watching. Feel free to comment down below, share your experiences. I'm sure there are a lot out there of when your doctor barely even looked at you. They were staring at their screen, mindlessly going through their checklists.
Yeah. He is spot on with everything that he just said. And for me, I'll share a little story with you. Well, I, for some reason, was a person who, I don't know if I was like a hypochondriac or something, but for most of my youth, I liked going to the doctor and I wanted to go all the time. And my parents have good insurance, so I just always was like, oh, I need to go to the doctor like all the time. And I've seen it decline so much over just my lifetime alone. And for me, it really hit me in 2020 when I needed to have a tonsillectomy. I kept getting infections in my tonsils and they were so swollen that I couldn't breathe, which was another reason I really struggled with wearing the mask, because I already had a hard time getting airflow through my face and my mouth, my nose, all of it, because I had this swelling going on. So I went to an ENT, and I decided to just have them removed. And of course, in order to even do that surgery, I had to take a PCR test to prove that I did not have the vid. And I had to take it before the test, before the surgery, like a couple days before the surgery. Um, so they could see, oh, she doesn't have it. Then I went into the surgery, and it was probably 48 hours post-op that I had a post-operative hemorrhage, which means that basically where they did the surgery in my throat, like it kind of gave way and I started profusely bleeding. Like there was, I don't want to be graphic here, but it was like coming up out of my mouth. It was really hard to breathe even more. So I went to the emergency room, and it was Riddle Hospital in Southeast Pennsylvania. I don't care. I'm outing them. And honestly, if I knew the nurse's name, I would out her as well, because the way that they treated me was literally criminal. So first of all, I get to the waiting room. I'm so scared. Like, you're bleeding out of your throat. Yeah, it's scary. Like you can feel it like gushing. It's terrifying. And they made me put a mask on and sit there in the waiting room for at least an hour and a half with blood. Maybe not an hour and a half. Maybe it was an hour. However long it was, I just remember sitting there and trying to slow my breathing so that I could get any bit of airflow. And I was trying to just like not let the blood spill out into my mask that I was forced to wear. And then they took me into the back, and the nurse, I will never forget how rude she was and heartless that she was. She had this like nasty tone with me. She was not caring at all or empathetic to like my fear of what was going on in my throat. And she takes me back to the room. We're sitting there, and I said, yeah, I'm having a post-operative hemorrhage. I looked it up. My sister's a nurse practitioner. I have a post-operative hemorrhage. Um, and she said, well, you still need to do a PCR test so that we can make sure it's not the vid. And I'm sitting there terrified. I'm like, I started shaking. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I can't, you can't, please don't put anything up my face right now. Like, I'm already bleeding and it hurts and I'm scared. Like, I don't, what's the point? Like, I obviously have a post-operative hemorrhage. Why do you need to test me again when I just took this test 48 hours ago? This woman took her arm, put it across my chest, and held me down and shoved the PCR test up my nose. And I started to gush blood again out of my mouth. And I was crying. And it was the worst experience of my entire life. That hospital, like, I don't care if someone needs to sew me back together. You're going to fly me somewhere else because I will never ever go to that emergency room again. It was the most traumatizing experience of my life. I wrote like this horrible review afterwards. Nobody ever reached out. Nobody ever said anything to me. It was awful. So for me, I've had, unfortunately, a lot of bad experiences with doctors, but that was by far the worst. I've never felt like so vulnerable before. And I've never felt like that amount of that level of vulnerability. And then also the people who are supposed to be your caretakers just don't care. They don't care that you're crying and you're scared and you're shaking and you don't know what's going on. They don't care. All they care about is their protocol. And it really opened my eyes more than anything else, honestly, to the fact that, there's something is seriously wrong in our healthcare system in this country. Not to mention how expensive everything is, not to mention that most of the drugs cause horrific side effects that can like literally maim you. Um, it's just it's just awful. And that was awful. So yeah, that was my experience. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of this video. Have you had a bad experience? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about what happened. This is a safe space here. Go ahead and share what happened to you. Yeah, it's awful. It's scary. And I'm just it's so sad to me. It's so sad. And I'm so sorry for all of us living through this right now. It really feels like there's no help for you. Sorry, that's my dog scratching in the background. But yeah, I'm going to end the video there. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.